Hi everyone, my name is Maribel and I work over here at Merced Adult School. And this week we're going to learn methods and tips on how to take notes. Last week we worked on mastering our reading skills, and this week it's just as important to take notes. Have you been that person that tries to copy everything someone is saying, maybe during a lecture or a workshop? That's been me. I know it can be frustrating when you can't copy everything that they say, but we can't. Even there's classes called shorthand. Back in the days, they would teach on how to take quick notes by paper, but I don't think they teach that anymore, so we don't have that skill to write fast. But when it comes to learning and retaining information, it's really important that we take good notes and be efficiently with our note taking, because either A, we're going to try to pass a class, or do well in class, pass a test, and pass a class, of course. But you have to really think, what's the purpose of taking notes, right? You're not just going to take notes just to take notes. You're actually wanting, you want these note taking is used to facilitate your comprehension of memorizing material for studying, being able to study for a test. Studies do show that people who take notes remember material better than those that don't, like 7 times more. They're more likely to remember a week later what they were studying or learning about. So it is a good opportunity to learn how to take notes, right? The truth is that no one's really taught us how to take notes. I don't remember learning how to take notes, and if they did, I forgot. We just become these voice recorders instead by trying to write everything someone says, right? But you have to look at note-taking as learning, so that's why you want to learn how to take notes, okay? So I'm going to talk about some tips, and then about the most common methods, and then I'll end with my favorite method, and I think I mentioned it last week, and it still holds #1 spot, but I did definitely want to talk about other methods that there are out there, and I'll give you examples as well, okay? So you want to kind of set the tone and set the environment, right? So remember, keep this in mind. Don't write everything. You don't have to write everything down that you hear, okay? Eliminate distractions. So if you're on, you can put your phone on airplane mode, which mine's on airplane mode right now because I'm recording. I don't want no interruptions. You make sure you do that. Maybe set boundaries with people that you're texting. Say, hey, I'm in class right now. I'll talk to you later. I got to take some notes. But of course, it has to be important to you, right? And of course, if you're doing education, I'm hoping it's because you want to better yourself. And so you do set that boundary, healthy boundary with someone. You can either take notes on a notebook. Mine usually are on a notebook, and I highlight sometimes and stuff. Or you can use your laptop because maybe you can type faster. But people who type faster, yet they can get more information, like 3 times more information than someone who writes, but cannot always recall. So there's been studies that shows that it's better to write your notes than to type your notes, but I kind of like both. Like if you practice and you know what you're looking for, listening to or how to catch things fast, typing could be your thing, but I guess writing is still winning right now. So you can write your notes and have a notebook when you're taking notes, okay? Use black pens. So I usually have a black pen like everywhere I go. There's a black pen. These are my favorite ones, the gel ones. And to make sure your notes are easy to read, and I'm gonna give you options because some people do have a hard time maybe using different color pens, but I'm gonna tell you why I rather use black and use highlighters. But I use black pens to take notes, so they're easy to read, not different colors, because to me it's kind of straining to the eyes. And then I use black highlighters, like 3 different colors, to review after, like I highlight after and main stuff, important stuff afterwards to review. So like the green one is like stuff that I understand. Yellow could be maybe you can ask questions, like things you have to ask questions. And then this could be things you don't understand or you know are going to be in a test, so you better look at it because you know it's red, kind of like red color. So but you can color code and create your own legend. Usually I know that 3 is different colors are the things that work best for me, like different highlighters or colors. If you want to, you can use color pens too to kind of do a legend, to create a legend. So you can have different colors, like, you know, use red when your questions, when you have questions and you write down questions, which is important when you're reading to ask questions. Put maybe definitions in blue or conclusions and answers in green. Green's like, go, we're good, right? Seems to be a good thing. Sometimes people use sticky notes. So I use a lot of sticky notes too to like add stuff in here. Like see, I have sticky note right there. Like, so if I forget something, I can do a sticky note. If you missed any kind of information. If you're working like in psychology or biology, there is usually bolded letters. You can go over the guidelines to kind of guide you, and you write down like stuff that you know you're gonna be writing about, right? Any titles, any topics, study guide, look at that and be ready the day of like lecture time. After you're done with like taking some notes, you could review your notes for about 10 to 15 minutes and maybe try to teach someone like what you learned today. But so this is kind of just in general some tips on note taking. Okay, I have my own, and I'll tell you, like, I use one, but I want to use a different method. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 methods that I've seen, and when it comes to taking notes, we'll start with the one that's the most common one. Actually, no, I think it's like the second most common one, because I know another one is another more. I've used the outline method. So there's the Cornell method, there's the mind map method, there's the outline method, and lazy way right on the slides method, and then my favorite, I just call it the Wicks method. It's Jim Wick. We talked about that guy last year. So the Cornell method. It's gonna look like this. You're gonna divide your paper into 3 sections, okay? Oh gosh, if you can see this. So on the right side of the paper, which is this much, you know, is where you're gonna be taking notes. That's where the note taking is gonna be. On the margin over here, this is where you will probably have dates, details, definition, formulas, examples, maybe pictures, just stuff that you see, right, that you're observed. And then on the margins, usually, like, you know, if you have a binder paper, usually that margins, this is where they call it is the Q section, which is where you ask questions that you might want to review later after you're done. And so this is where keywords, maybe questions, you know, main ideas, any big words you put right here. And then at the bottom right here, which is the third section, is it's a summary section. This is where you paraphrase what you've learned, you know, or what did you learn? And you can do that like in 2 sentences. So you're reflecting and reviewing here. So this is I've never personally used it. I might think of using it, but do what best works for you, okay? And then we have the mind map method. So in this one, take a blank piece of paper and start with the main idea in the middle. Like, let's say note taking, that was my main idea when I was creating this video. And then write a circle, or, you know, do a circle around it. Then these look like little trees or little subtopics, as you're like, that's how I see it. And add like little branches with more leaves on it, like little trees, right? It kind of helps organize topics and connect things, right? So I have like note taking, and I have the methods right here, and then that broken down like what you like. You know, Jim Wick is more for remembering, recalling more information, like the why, and mind mapping, that's creative, usually for visual people who are visually they learn visually. Cornell is more of the structure, and then outline is more of like being organized. So that's that. So this is a mind map. And then we have the most common method. This is what I actually use. Okay, this is the outline method, based on bullet points and hierarchy. So create the top level, bullet points of all the main points in the lecture, and then you have a lower, level point to add some details, and then you add even more, to support that detail. Okay. You space things out. Usually you indent. So if you indent, that's describing that main idea, and then you're supporting it with an indent again to support that data. And you can do either Roman numerals, you can do like ABC, or bullets. I use a lot of bullets unless I'm trying to prove like 1, 2, 3, 4, because it's in that order if the order is important. And maybe you bold important information, right? So that's the outline method. And my favorite, you guys, still it holds my top position, or my favorite method of note taking. It's the Jim Wicks method. We learned this last week in reading, where on the you divide the paper in half, you fold it in half, and on the left side you will capture the notes, and then on the right side you will ask those 3 questions. How can I use this? Why must I use this? And when will I use this? And write it down, right? I think this is really important for long-term memory. I feel like once we know like the why and how and why we must, and when will we do it, like we actually integrate it into and put it in our long-term memory, and like it's more meaningful because you can recall it and use it in your life. So there you go. We got the Cornell method, and I think the Cornell method, again, it's for some people who really want to use all the questions, the notes, and being able to paraphrase and summarize. And like I said, usually people take 2 to 3 minutes to review and then do a summary, 1 or 2 summaries on what they learned. And we have the mind map, which is for people who are more like visual. So people who are visual and they're not really that organized, but they understand and start making connections and stuff. Sometimes that helps. So if you're a visual person, mind mapping. Outline is again, that's what I usually use. Actually, all my notes that are as kind of an outline. And I think it's more for like being really organized, right? So, having main idea, breaking it down, describing that, and then more supporting to describe that, how to branch out. And then of course my favorite, Jim Wicks method. This is, I feel like, still will be my favorite, and I will definitely gonna try this whenever I read any books, because I want to learn something and take something with me forever and use it in my life on a regular day basis. Get yourself a notebook, have a laptop, get yourself at least 3 different highlighters with lots of black pens. I don't know how many black pens I have, but I have a lot of these. These are my favorite. These are the Pilot G2s, and I know they're not cheap, but if you just don't care because you're such a great writer, you can just use, these are cheap too. Okay. I forgot one method. I forgot to write on the slides. Okay, so some teachers like to have slides. Print out the slides and add notes to it. Download and print the slides. Take notes on the slides. It's nice to have a timeline view of your notes so you can just follow along with the teacher. So that's called the write on the slides, the lazy way. And sometimes, hey, if the teacher's giving you a PowerPoint, use it. So there you go, you guys. Hopefully that kind of helped you on how to take notes. I know I do a lot of the highlighting and the writing. I use pencil when I'm writing, if I'm doing books or reading any books, I use that. But anyhow, hopefully that helped you out. Again, Cornell method, the mind map method, outline method, the write it on the slides method, and my favorite, the Jim Wicks or Wicks method of taking notes. And if you have any suggestions, let me know. Remember, I always put my resources down in the description below. But if you have any suggestions, just comment in the section. Just comment down below and I will look into that. I'm looking for the next few weeks on deciding on like degrees. It's more career focused. So what career jobs are with certain degrees, and the most common degrees and the most common careers, and what to expect. I know a lot of students don't know when they major in something what kind of careers there are, so I'm gonna bring that up and help people out. I wish I'd known this before. So hope you have a good day, and until next week, bye.